Meow! Huples cat and Wolfie Terrier in a car park. 30th of October, just over 20 centigrade, almost 70 Fahrenheit. And we have frogs are out and dandelions are out and Kitty and Wolfie are leaving me. Bye! Alright, so I have to start off. It's kind of windy, so most of this will probably be lost by the wind. I will be in the wilderness for a while. That will not be a problem today. We actually had our first snowfall about 2 days ago, very little, but it was a snowfall, not frost. And this is like ludicrously hot. But after tomorrow it's going to get cold. I'm going to use the Sheffield Trails for a little while before I go off grid and go into the actual wilderness proper. Snowing with leaves. Rained heavily last night, so one of the things I have to do is be very careful on these wet rocks. A lot of them are still wet, but obviously it's going to be a very hot day today, especially wearing a pack I've never worn before. So this lake is the first of 4 interconnected in this sequence of lakes. There are others. Well, I've basically reached the southern end of the first lake. It's really hot. It's time for a bit of water. So you have these humongous side pouches. They're really good for actually storing water balls, and this is where you need a tripod. It's very hot. I'm not used to this. I won't lie, the Sheffield Trail is moderate. It's not really hard. It can be very difficult if you go anti-clockwise. The way I'm going is clockwise during heat, because it's just open rock on top of mountains and it really burns you out. But I'm just stopping for a while to soak in some of the beauty of my surroundings. It's awesome. Now these conservation areas basically exist to pump water south into our big cities, and they're an absolute blessing if you're able to get to them. They can go on for miles and miles and you don't see anybody. There's literally nobody on this trail today apart from me. But if you're actually on a trail like this, take a map with you. I have one in here. It's not really going to help. And have a good look and have a good think and try and look online. Sheffield, the first few times we were on it, we got lost badly several times. The last year the conservation volunteers have been out and have really kind of upped the marking. So the marking is a lot easier now than it was even last year. But even so, I just come through a turn-off point. It's not marked particularly well, and you could easily take a diversion which will take you out of the conservation area into what is nothing but endless forest, as we shall see later on. So I've got 1.3 kilometers from the car park, and that's reasonably accurate. And this is telling me I have 3.3 kilometers to go. That's not accurate. If you add them together, you might think this trail is 4.6 kilometers long. At 2.3 kilometers an hour, it would take me and Kitty 2 hours to go around this trail. Generally speaking, we finish this trail in just under 3 hours, though we do stop for 15-20 minutes along the route. It's probably more like 6 kilometers, and I think they measured the distances by a line on the map and didn't account for the many ups and downs. There are 2 parts of the trail where you actually get to cross a beaver dam. This is the smallest one. The other one's pretty impressive. You see what I mean about the hills. The southern part of the trail goes across a few of these. The northern part goes up and down very big hills, almost mountains, and goes across miles and miles of this stuff. And that's the tree marking my path off the trail. I'm going to go into there. Oh, I'll be actually happy to get rid of the pack. I think you need to build up to this type of thing, but it's been an experience. And I'll get some water, I'll have a large drink, I'll relax, set up the camp, and I will have a good read. So that's where I'll be getting my water from. I still have to find a decent campsite. And this will be my campsite. Well protected on all sides by the cliff. We'll not go off there in the night. You should probably notice the wind. It's dying down a little bit. I'm going to be really careful of widowmakers. Not sure I'll see sunset from here, but I will see sunrise. And this is absolutely wonderful, isn't it? It remains very windy. I went down about 300 meters and got some water. I've dragged it all the way back up, so I've got about 10 liters of water when it's processed. The process is very fast, and I'm going to have a coffee. The importance of a reliable gravity filter cannot be overstated for anything, for any disaster, for any camping, any hiking. Mission 12, you can get a Mission 5, it's smaller. Absolutely reliable, very safe to use, absolutely doesn't contaminate easily at all, and I'm really happy with it. And it just pours water out, as you can see. To be honest, you could probably drink that water as it is if it's flowing. The major issue is a lot of beaver and a lot of deer around here, so you're going to get problems with your GI tract and it's just not worth it. For less than £1 a weight, that's a great thing. 18,000 litres of water it will purify before it stops. So my kitchen and my hygiene station is set up well away from my camping ground. So this worked well from a pocket box. Took a bit of grinding to get it to start to work on the flint, but it works fine. Major complaint, top's loose. So I'm going to have to address that because it's got extra flints in it. So this actually will come off quite easily, it doesn't screw on. But I can easily replace that. In terms of the propane, flick flick, and it caught with a spark. I do of course have Bics with me just in case. As regular viewers know, I generally use a BioLite wood stove, and I'm using this for this particular one because I need to get familiar with all my equipment. I wasn't kidding about the top of this thing. So I got this from BioLite, so I'm going to try it, and then I'm going to have my usual one. Can't stand Starbucks, but this works well for camping and kayaking. So yeah, use your equipment. I hadn't set this up properly, so I've now set it up properly so I'll be able to use this handle and pour it. But I also brought gloves, always a good idea if you're going to have flame. I had one of these before from a pocket box. I can never get this to stay there, it just folds in. But it's a coffee filter like a tea bag, it works. When I want to favour myself, what I actually do is I bring some coconut milk powder and put it in. Yeah, I don't really care how the coffee tastes. It's wasteful, there's a huge amount of garbage to take out, and you shouldn't be burning stuff, especially wax paper. So yeah, I might like the taste of it, but I'm probably going to stick to this without even trying the taste, just because of the amount of fuss. Trying to pour boiling water over a filter isn't the best thing to do when you're camping. Burns are real. Well, I got about an hour of sunlight and the tent's up. I'm not going to put up the hammock. I'm going to do that at home, I think, when it's not so windy. Gorgeous weather. It remains very windy. It's about 18 degrees, so it'll drop to about 12 centigrade overnight, and it should be quite toasty and warm in here. Now, for those people wondering, Kitty's not with me because tomorrow morning Wolfie has to have an injection for his arthritis. So she's going to give him the injection at the vet's at 9:30, and then she's going to drive for a few hours and pick me up. It's really nice camping in hot weather with sunlight, and there's no bugs. But of course I have to keep my eye out for ticks, which is a major problem these days, and it will be until it really freezes hard and stays frozen. I forgot how hard it is to actually carry stuff on a hike and then camp and set up the camp and inflate everything and pick a spot, get the water, drag the water up and process it. Everything takes longer than you expect it to. Still very windy, cooled down a little bit, that's why I put the jumper on. Flashlight on my tent. When it's about 7 o'clock, I put the flashlight on so you can actually sort of see me. I'm going to go to bed and I'm going to try Toodles. This has been a 2024 Wolfie Terrier hiding in the gear production. But yeah, it's really nice camping in hot weather with